Alright, so I'd like to go over my Vanquish Soul deck list. And, well, it's like Vanquish Soul Snake Eyes. It plays, like, about the same amount of cards. Let me count these. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, well, only 6 Snake Eyes monsters. That's actually not that much. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Vanquish Soul monsters, and then a whole bunch of spell cards to bring them out. I've been playing Vanquish Soul since it came out in Master Duel, and I'm not the most experienced duelist because I started playing maybe like 7 months ago or so, when Sprites came out. But I think at the moment, the Vanquish Soul Snake Eyes deck is a little more durable than Snake Eyes by itself. And that's mostly because whenever your Snake Eyes cards get ashed, you're kind of up the creek without a paddle unless you have the extender. But Vanquish Soul has a few ways of dodging some of those negates. Like if they have a Veiler or an Imperm and you have a Borger in hand or a Caesar in hand, you can kind of dodge it. Or even just for like going first and having something on the field, like you can have your Snake Eyes plays be completely stopped, but then you still have like a Mad Love with a trap to flip one of their monsters face down and stop them. Like if you flip an Ash face down, well, it can't search another monster anymore, and that kind of stops their play. Unless they've searched for the Poplar already, and the Poplar didn't add the field spell. But if the Poplar does add the field spell instead of Sinful Spoils, then you can actually flip the Snake Eyes Ash face down and stop them from special summoning with it. So we're running 3 Razen. I think Razen is your stronger normal summon between the two decks. Mostly because if I have Snake Eye Ash and Razen in hand, and I'm not sure which one I want to use, 9 times out of 10 I'm actually going with the Razen over Ash. Because I know that at the very least, if my play gets stopped this turn, or if Razen gets impermed or ashed or whatever, I can still link it off into a Rock of the Vanquisher, return him to hand, and then maybe next turn I can bring a Borger to hand, and then Razen gets like 1 destruction, and that's not much, but it's something. We're running 3 Maxi, 3 Ash, 3 Razen, 1 Panthera, 2 Madlove. I have 2 Madlove and only 1 Borger because I don't really like having a lack of normal summons in my opening hand. And I do think that Madlove can be a pretty strong normal summon, especially if you have like a Stake Your Soul available and you can just like add the Razen later if you have another fire, because we're running a lot of fires in this deck. Madlove also just plays better under Maxi. I think that's the biggest thing about this deck is that, unfortunately, a lot of the time we kind of have to respect Maxi, and your best play is going to be like ending with like Madlove on the field and like a trap or something, or maybe even a Rock of the Vanquisher if you manage to get that far. Let's see, Diabell Star, 1 Diabell Star, 3 Seeker of Sinful Spoils. This card is kind of a meme, but I really like it because no matter what you do in your opening hand, like if you're going with Vanquish Soul plays, or you're going with Snake Eye plays, you're always going to be special summoning a monster from hand. Whether it's Rock of the Vanquisher special summoning, or the Razen special, the Xiaolong special summoning itself, or the Borger, or the Caesar. This is basically like an Upstart Goblin on steroids, because you can use it on the next turn too. And you can even like if Nibiru special summons itself on the opponent's turn, you actually get a draw from it, which is really nice. You can also just use Diabell Star to special summon itself and then draw an additional card. And then you can potentially Chain Link block an Ash, but like nobody's gonna Ash your Diabell Star, let's be honest. But then you can also use this card as fodder if you want to send it away with one of your Ash monsters. So that's kind of nice. I'm running a Reinforcement of the Army for Razen, because we want as many Razen searches as we can get. I don't run the Equip spell, though. I found to sometimes brick because I had too many spells and traps in hand and no normal summons, which kind of sucks, which really shouldn't happen. We have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 ways of getting like something on the board. And yet sometimes I would just not have a normal summon, so I stopped using the equip spell to search Razen. You can still run it though if you want. I would say if there was anything I would cut from this deck, it would probably be maybe the cross out, the pinpoint, maybe the 1-for-1, but I like the 1-for-1. It's like another Sinful Spoils in a way. I feel like you might even be able to get away with running 2 Sinful Spoils. I wouldn't take away the Dust Devil. That card is like way too good in some matchups. And I think the best thing about this deck is that you can always use this as like a not a Raigeki, but a Dark Hole on your opponent's turn. And this card can actually trigger some of your Snake Eyes effects. Like, let's say you're going to... If you've got Ambla Whale on the field, or rather in the graveyard, because it's been sent over there, and you destroy your Promethean Princess with this card, because you've run out of, like, negates, you can use the Ambla Whale to pop a field spell, which is pretty nice. So, I think a lot of this is pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to try to see if I can get some test hands going, just to show you how to combo, because I think the ideal end board for this deck is to have like a normal Snake Eyes end board with Ambla Whale, Flamberge, with a Masquerena in the back row, but also Razen in the back row with the field spell up so you can summon Razen, and even having a Xiaolong on the field would be really nice. You want to be able to resolve your Vanquish Soul line and also your Snake Eyes lines, or if you get negated, at least you can pivot towards the other engine. I think a Vanquish Soul, if you wanted to like actually just climb to Master pretty quickly, you could probably do even better if you just ran like a Vanquish Soul deck with like a few Floodgates, but I really don't like playing Floodgates, so that's why I'm running this deck. But yeah, having 2 dimensional shifter as well as a what's that other one? Tiki Boo. This probably goes a lot harder, but I kind of prefer playing through a lot of negates rather than floodgating my opponent. No offense to anybody who prefers that playstyle. I have like 10 replays I have available, but they're gonna be in a separate video because I wanted to have like a separate video with just all of my replays so I could showcase going first and second against various decks in my Climb to Master 1. Here I'm just trying to combo off using like Razen and 1 Snake Eye card. So here's a really good example. We have the Stake Your Soul, we have the Temple. So what we'll do, we'll use Stake Your Soul to summon Razen. And this gets our Vanquish Soul line going. Razen, we'll add Xiaolong. We have an Earth in hand, so that's pretty nice. Okay, so this is pretty important. We want to summon the Xiaolong. Because right now, we don't have a second fire in hand. And of course, you can just use the Vanquish Soul Rock of the Vanquisher to just add Razen back to hand. But let's assume we didn't have another fire. Let's assume we just started with Razen and nothing else. and maybe like some way of summoning Ash, like normal summoning Ash, Ash will be adding a second fire to our hand. So we can Rock of the Vanquisher, add Rosin back. We're gonna add Poplar. And then in a small amount of time, we can chain Poplar to special summon it, but before it leaves our hand, Rosin is going to give us our Vanquish Soul Trap, which is usually the card you're going to be adding here. You can be greedy if you have a Dark and like have like a Mad Love summon, but most of the time you want to go for the Snow Devil. But I mean, you can play the way you want. You can probably go for Dust Devil too if you think that's better. Sometimes flipping 2 cards is better than board-wide destruction. It really depends on what the enemy is playing. But I like searching the Snow Devil just to guarantee that I'm going to be living this turn. So we're searching Sinful Spoils. And then at this point, so we've got Rosin back in hand. You know, we could go for a... No, we can't go for a Synchro line here. So now we can go to Promethean Princess, resummon the Flamberge, Flamberge will put the Masquerena into the back row, and then we can end on Ambler Whale. I guess we could Sinful Spoils the Snake Eye Ash to have another monster on the field, but I mean, it wouldn't really add too much. I mean, I guess we could have it just to have another material with Masquerena. Might as well. So at the moment, we don't have a way of resolving our Vanquish Soul Trap because we only have 2 attributes and we're missing a fire. However, we have the Rock of the Vanquisher to summon Rosin to add any attribute we want. And we also have, once our Masquerena links off with our field, we'll actually be able to bring more fires into our hand. And that's because Flamberge can just straight up resummon those Snake Eye monsters, and then we can have fire attributes in hand to let Zhao Long add another Vanquish Soul monster. I guess we can leave the Ambler Whale here. but you could technically link off with it. Sometimes I do. You want to make sure you have at least 2 empty spaces, otherwise Snake Eyes won't, Flamberge won't actually trigger. We're gonna special summon these 2. And this is how we'll end up adding 2 fires to hand. So now Zhao Long can add the missing attribute. There we go. So we end up with 3 negates with Appaloosa. We have a targeted destruction with Swarm Ship, a full board wipe, and if we use our full board wipe, we can actually special summon Razin still, because we haven't used our Rock of the Vanquisher. I find that more often than not, I end up actually not using Rock of the Vanquisher at all. Which is that's why we only run 2. I've never had a single game where I actually ended up using 3 Rock of the Vanquishers. I wonder. I don't think we'll be able to have 2 fires in the hand here for this turn, because Panthera would not be able to add another one to hand here. So we won't really be able to get much value out of the Zhao Long, I don't think. Maybe if we end up adding another fire to hand. Yeah, let's see. Let's try another hand. I actually misplayed there too, because I could have sent... I could have used the Panthera, used her own quick effect to make herself invulnerable to battle destruction by revealing the Maxi in hand. Okay, well here's a decent enough hand to showcase the combo. We only have fire attributes in hand. We're gonna special summon Zhao Long. Using Borger as a pseudo extender like that too, you could actually end up going into your synchro plays. You basically would treat Borger as if it was Diabell Star.
Relax, Mr. Reaper.
Oh, I'm so
My extraction point.
I was supposed to... This is not the first time I've done this. You want to chain... actually, you don't want to chain anything. When you use Borderlord Savage Dragon's effect, you do not want to chain Link Kuriboh, because you don't get the ad that way. This hand is kind of bricky, but thanks to having at least one of our normal summons, we're able to get our Snake Eye Ash. Snake Eye Ash adds Poplar. Maybe we'll get lucky and we will draw into like a Stake Your Soul or something. So if you chain it this way, they can't ash your Snake Eyes Poplar, but let's be honest, again, they're not really going to be ashing the Snake Eyes Poplar, they're going to be ashing the Snake Eyes Ash. Okay. Well, this is a pretty basic Snake Eyes end board. You can already tell where this is going to end up. We're going to have Masquerina with Masquerina in the back row with Flamberge. I'll actually just show you the line, since we might as well. The only thing notable about this end board is that when you, on the next turn, summon your, when you resummon Poplar, you can actually send it to hand first with the Snake Eyes Ash. And then after you do that, it'll special summon itself and you can trigger Pinpoint Landing again, which is pretty neat. Link off into Masquerina. This lets us special summon 2 more cards here. 1, 2. Promethean Princess to resummon the Flamberge. So we're going to summon these 2 specifically. Ash is going to add the Poplar to hand. So you're going to add Poplar to hand. And you're going to add, I guess, well, we already have Kurikara, so what can we even add? I don't think we run any more Snake Eye monsters. Oh, okay, there we go. That works. Do not special summon it. We're going to add it to hand. Because this is how you will get the Pinpoint Landing to trigger. And we get an Ash, which is kind of nice. So that's about it for that play. Double Ash and an Impermanent Razen. This would just be like a standard Vanquish Soul line. It might be better to have more Diabell Stars, I think. Maybe we run 6 Diabell Star, or 3 Diabell Star and 3 of the Wanted. I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure what the best ratios for this deck would be. Maybe you guys can figure that out, because it's a really complicated deck. But, like, you want to be able to do 2 things. You want to be able to access both of your engines. But see, this is an amazing hand, minus the fact that we have Field Spell. There's a lot of dead cards in this hand, but, Razen is going to give us Xiaolong. One thing to note with this hand, so what's going to end up happening is that so obviously we can't use Wanted this turn, right? But if we set up the Wanted, we can actually bring the Diabell Star back from the grave to our hand, giving us a dark attribute to help resolve the trap. And that's what we're going to do. So let's first add the trap. I'm just going to go ahead and set it. I'm also going to set the Wanted. Divine Temple. We're going to place one of our Snake Eye Ashes. And then we're going to send the Poplar. I guess we could have also sent the Razen. Actually, you know what? No, we're not going to send the Well, we kind of do have to send the Poplar, huh? Because we got to get it into the grave so we can special summon it. So we'll do that. I'm not going to activate Poplar here. I guess we can add the Kurikara for follow-up next turn. Promethean Princess to get our Flampers back. Do we want to actually have Poplar? Yeah, I guess we can just put Poplar on there for no reason. Alrighty. So, the way this differentiates from a standard Snake Eyes board, as you can see, I mean, we have the Rock of the Vanquisher. We can resummon the Razen from our hand at any point, preferably in this link column in case our opponent tries to link off. Xiaolong is going to add an Earth attribute. It's important that we do an Earth attribute and not a Dark attribute, because we do have the Wanted Seeker of Sinful Spoils, which is going to add the Dark attribute into our hand. So in the draw phase, before they actually get to do anything, we're gonna go ahead and add Caesar. And then the wanted spell is gonna add a Diabell Star. And now we have all 3 attributes to resolve. So, you know, it doesn't matter what our opponent does to us this turn. They could triple tactics us, they could use Dark Hole, they could really do anything. And we'd be sitting pretty since we've got the Snow Devil in our back row ready to stop their plays. Another thing you can do too is you can have the Rock of the Vanquisher summon the Razen to add a dark, like, you could add Borger to hand, tag a Borger out to get another draw, and then you can then use this Vanquish Soul Snow Devil later. So you could try to, like, fish for a Max C. There's so much you can do with this deck. We could even add another Earth. Like, if we add another Earth here instead of a Dark, like, going for the Borger is kind of greedy. Because we're not really getting too much more out of that. We're just getting a draw. But if you add a Panthera, you get another non-targeting pop via Caesar. So, that can be pretty good. Anyway, you should definitely check out those replays because, I'd say they're a lot more in-depth than just showing, like, the combos. But it's definitely a difficult deck to pilot. Let's play some ranked matches. We have a called by for the... Okay, so I'm gonna start with reinforcement of the army here to add a Razen. If they ash us, we still have Stake Your Soul. This is fine. Da, 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 da. You know what I'm gonna cook? I think I'm gonna go with returning this to hand. But if I return this to hand, I'm not gonna have an easy way of searching other cards, am I? We'll just go with the field spell then. Just to be safe. We could use Hita to take their own monster here. Technically, what would that add for us anyway? Did we use an Ash? No, we didn't. Wow, all of the attributes. Well, that's very nice. Okay. I wonder what deck they're on. Before the end of the main phase. Okay. they might have it evenly matched. In which case, we have to get rid of everything except maybe an Appaloosa, like a really big Appaloosa. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And then we can just banish the Appaloosa. Ah, it's Kashtira. Interesting. But if it's Kashtira, then now they can't summon. So this kind of didn't really do much, did it? Even if they banish everything, we're still gonna have our Vanquish Soul plays. Also, I don't think... Yeah, they can't evenly match us anymore. I don't think this chain works that way, does it? This only works on on-field effects. Yeah, monsters on the field. That does not work. Unfortunately, it does not work. Alrighty then. It was unfortunate that all they had was like double Ash, Field Spell, and a Super Poly. They were playing, I'm assuming, Kashtira... Wait, what? Kashtira tier limit? Interesting. I did not expect that. Ah, no wonder they'd play Super Poly.